I wonder if Dennis Prager will be flattered that he's subject to one of my screeds. Um, he's one of my favorite talk show hosts. I'm sort of like toss-up now between Dennis Prager and Michael Savage. But I want to exercise some of his advice and try to attain clarity on a very important issue. And this happens to be this Jesus-Paul dichotomy that circulates amongst the intellectual, mostly intellectual Jews, but not necessarily. There's also the same idea is borrowed by Islamic apologists and liberal professors. Okay, so there's a nice a trio. And so here's the thing. Okay, the idea is that Jesus was more like a law enforcer, and he was all about keeping the law, and that was the emphasis of his ministry. What do you do about his claims that he was going to be the Lamb of God that takes away the sins of the world? I don't know what they do with that. That contradicts right off the bat. See, this is the problem with this, trying to portray Jesus as a law enforcer, is that you can only do that if you isolate a few verses. You see, you really can't do that if you take the Corpus Christi, so to speak. Same thing with Paul. Same thing with Paul. Now, what they do is they take the select verses from what Jesus said, and then they select verses that seem to contradict from Paul. And so, really, what you're comparing is points that are out of context with the broader story of both of those teachers. And if you look at the broader story of both of the teachers, you'll see that that the vast majority of their teachings are in harmony. And I'm not saying these ones, the ones that are usually selected, are not in harmony. It's just that if they're taken out of context, they seem that way. But put in the appropriate context, you'll see that Jesus came to die for the sins of the world according to Jesus. And Jesus came to die for the sins of the world according to Paul. So I guess we're seeking clarity in as far as it regards Dennis Prager is my understanding. I think I'm pretty sure that this is his take on how he avoids believing in Jesus as the Messiah is based on this Jesus-Paul dichotomy. And I'm just saying it's just a very simple exercise to take the full body of each of those respective teachings and see that they're really in harmony. There's no dichotomy, and that I don't know how he can really hold that position and be intellectually honest. Okay, and I'm not saying the guy's some kind of a creeper or anything like that. I'm just saying that I believe that he applied the techniques of clarity that he promotes so much to that particular topic and that particular aspect of his belief system. I think that he's gonna, he should come to the conclusion, anyways, and he may not, and I'm not, this is the thing. I believe that that it's intellectually dishonest to try to contrast Paul and Jesus that way. But I'm not, I'm not going to force somebody to take my position. I'm going to hold my position. I'm not going to compromise. But I'll let if Prager say, well, he agrees to disagree, and I'm not saying he's actually going to talk to me, but I'm just saying in the course of his lifetime, when somebody else brings this point up, that you really can't intellectually support Jesus and Paul dichotomy, he may, choose the wiggle room of agreeing to disagree. And, I always give people that wiggle room in terms of their own, personal space. I don't agree that I don't agree that they're coming to the right conclusion, but I'll let them, you got to allow people to have that kind of wiggle room and to come to conclusions on their own about matters of belief. That doesn't mean that we can't do whatever we can to try to illuminate, but that's all really you can do. You can just try to illuminate, and if they see the light, they see the light. If they don't see the light, they don't see the light, and it's, that's que sera, sera. And I think that even Jesus had that attitude when he said, you go into a town, if they receive the message, then, good for them, and if they reject the message, then, dust the dirt off your feet and go to the next town. It's a testimony against them. I mean, he's not saying that there's no consequences. He's just saying that as far as the messengers are concerned, we have no control over whether people accept it or not. And that's the way Christianity is supposed to spread. It's not a point of the sword. It's not sword point conversions. They were never accepted. They never should have been accepted. Well, let's put it this way. In true Christianity, that's a contradiction. You can't have sword point conversion in true Christianity. That would contradict the teachings of Christ. And of course, this is one of the things that contrast with Islam. For some reason they accept these sword point conversions. I don't know. That seems very foolish in my eyes. But that's the religion of the devil, and that's what the devil's. He's good with that. He's good with that as long as you don't stand up for Christ and risk your life in that environment. I mean, it's a shame. I mean, this is one of the reasons why I'm saying, as a government, as a government activity, or even maybe as a non-governmental organization, an NGO dedicated to the elimination of Islam worldwide, is a good idea. I'm actually thinking about launching such an organization and heading it up. And since we're a non-governmental organization, they can't say that it's America versus Islam. See, that's the old NGO, loophole. The thing is, they only allow NGOs that are anti-Judeo-Christian. That would be my assessment of how things are going to play out. So anyway, there you go. Dennis Prager and Jesus and Paul, and my take on that topic.